I have these wonderful little shells I'm going to tip out and show you. I gathered these off a beach in Australia on the west coast near Monkey Mire. Whoops. And so that was, just a few decades ago. Brought them home. They have been through several house moves with me. They've been kicked to the floor by Max. They're tiny shells, but there are some even tinier ones. Got a bit of carpet area here as well. I have to say I was furious when he kicked them to the floor. I'm sure it wasn't deliberate, but he's a cat that likes his windowsills free of all objects. But there are some absolutely minute little shells here, which are fantastic. I'm afraid some of them may well have got lost in the pile of the carpet because a lot of them went under the bed and all over the place. He really gave it a good swipe. But so what looks like little shells are actually quite big shells, but there are some really, really lovely. So this shell beach is near Monkey Mire on the west coast. I was travelling down between Broome and Perth, stopped off there, and the whole beach is made up of these teeny tiny shells. It's just fabulous. Not terribly comfortable to walk on, but just fabulous. I mean, they are perfection, but on a minute scale. So I'm going to start sticking these on and see how we go. I want to make up the discoloration for the mirror. So I'm using a bit of Payne's Grey, and I'll use a little bit of white emulsion, household emulsion paint. Don't know how much I'll need, put a little splash on there. And let's throw in a bit of brown and see how it all comes out. I know the sort of tone that I want, and we'll see. Sort of browny grey. That's not far off actually. Let's just add a little bit more. I think that will do. So I'm just going to stipple that onto the mirror. Yes, I should have done it before I stuck it into the frame. Hey ho. So I've got a choice of brushes here that I'm going to try. This one, this is my favourite brand of brush, but you can see it's very, can I get it in focus? It's very battered at the end and raggedy. This one, for some reason, it wasn't quite level at the end. This is just a fairly cheap one, and I cut it absolutely flat. This one, this is actually an eyeliner brush. Don't wear eyeliner, but it's very fine. So I will have a go with all three and see how it comes out. So I've stuck all the shells on the mirror. Really pleased with that. I'm going to do a bit of dry brushing with some gold, I think, over that. I've kept one shell that I really like for a soap dish to go on the washstand, and I've kept in this little baking tray some of the absolute minute little shells, cone shells and all sorts, that are probably going to go on a treasure shelf somewhere in a house, yet to be decided. And here we are, the finished mirror. So I've grubbied it up a bit because you imagine it'd be really difficult to clean. So I've gone in between some shells and between the shells and the mirror frame. But the idea is she's had it a long time and doesn't want to let it go. Reminds her of the seaside. Delighted with that. And little soap dish. I made a little towel rail for the washstand using a paperclip, a large paperclip this is, and that's just gone on the side there. I sort of cut it to the shape, the size that I wanted, bend the ends a bit more, made a bit of a hole, and then glued it in place. And I'm using muslin for towels. We haven't had terry toweling around for all that long, really. And if you look in antique markets, the old towels and tea towels were always just like plain cotton or linen. So I'm using some muslin that I've got to sort of give the impression of that, because it does drape quite nicely. And I've got a little jug. So if you imagine if you're washing your hair in the basin there, which only has cold water in the bathroom, you might want to bring a jug of hot water through from the kitchen to help rinse your hair. And this came part of a set of 3. So I've had to glue that down. And what you'll find is it's easier for, if you've got a piece of furniture like this that you want to dress, to glue the things into place. Otherwise, every time you move something, it will all fall off. And I don't want to glue the furniture in place, because that adds to the weight of the house itself, but I can glue all the bits on. I haven't glued these towels on. I may do, I may not. And I'm thinking the little plug, I may well glue that up on this side. Don't know, I'll have a think about that. And I'm going to glue this lovely little mirror into the bathroom. I'm sorry if you hear noises, because I've got the cabin door open at the moment. So, put some glue on the back. I'm going to have to stand up and do this because of the slopey ceiling. Otherwise, I'll get it squiffy. So I'm going to have to stand and hold this for a bit while the glue takes. It may not be absolutely central to the washstand, but that's all right. I have measured the inside of this bathroom to see the height, because I know it's a small addition, but I wanted to be sure that it was realistic for somebody to stand at the washstand and look in the mirror. I wanted it portrait style rather than landscape, which may or may not be the right idea, but you know, that's how it's going to come out, and that's taking really well. And I decided that the white little shelf is a better fit in the bathroom rather than the blue. The handles just looked a bit too blingy for the old cottage. So I've put the white one in here, and I put a couple of bits on the shelf. There's a little tiny perfume bottle, kind of. There wouldn't be loads of blingy perfume in this cottage, so I'll find other things to put on the shelf. I know I said it's easier to dress the shelf first, but because I'm going to have trouble holding this in place while the glue dries, and also I haven't got enough things to put on this shelf at the moment, so it's going to be a bit of a sparse shelf. I decided to glue it in place, and I'm actually gluing the things on in the shelf. So it's coming on. A few more bits and pieces I want to do here in the bathroom, but all in all, very happy. I might put a hook on the back of the door there, sort that out, and there we are. Roof goes on. Can never do it when you're on camera, can it? There we are. Through the little skylight you can see